Hello, welcome back to Path to Wellness. And yes, I am like cranking through all these videos, filming them on the same day. Anyway, this is such an exciting story for me to tell. I love telling stories. I love telling how God has like worked in my life and my faith journey through the church being amazing. If you haven't watched my previous videos, I suggest you go back. After we left the Baptist church we went to, we ended up visiting different churches. My parents were feeling very hurt, especially my dad, because of the stuff that happened. And obviously because I was a teenager and my dad was really good at keeping things that happened in the deacons meetings private, I don't even know the full extent of stuff that happened. But I know there are ugly accusations, or there are just horrible things going on. And, you know, I'm not saying this because you should leave churches. I'm not saying that. You know, can I just digress a little bit here? Churches are not perfect because they're full of imperfect people. That's why Jesus came down to save us. He came down even though we were messy, sinful, imperfect people, and that is okay. But churches are also full of God's love. And they are awesome places too. And, you know, I've had a lot of church hurt, but I've had a lot of church healing as well. And God is not done with the story. God is not done with his church. And so I just want to encourage you, you know, if you've had church hurt, don't give up on the church. You know, it could just be that the devil got into that particular church. People messed it up. People sometimes mess it up real big, real big. And I understand that. But don't give up on God, and don't give up on the church. You know, the church is not just a Baptist church, a Presbyterian church, a Catholic church, or this or that. You know, the church is the capital C church. It is Christ's body. And the church is encompassing the whole entire world. It's the big church. It's the capital C church that you need to never give up. We went around and we visited different churches again. We've done that a lot in our life. My mom especially really likes to see all her options and decide and pray and interview pastors and do all that. By this time, I was going to junior college. And in junior college, I had some friends that we would meet around lunchtime and we would have like these spiritual discussions, you know. One I remember reading about recently back in my journal, I was reading about like this concept of unity versus doctrine. What's more important, the unity of the church or sound doctrine? So it was interesting because I kind of was like, well, if people are like, it's more important to say, the spiritual doctrine, like what I believe is more important than being unified. And you know, it's really interesting because I kind of feel different about that now. Like obviously what you believe, who God is and stuff like that is really important. If you don't believe Jesus is God's son, then that really changes, you know, God's plan of salvation. And then what do you believe? You know, or if you believe that Jesus is not the only way to get to heaven, that really is different, you know. I kind of feel like that's what makes you a Christian, is believing that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and that there's no other way to get to the Father except through Jesus. But unity is so important, but also those two go together, you know. You need to have unity of doctrine, you know. You need to be united in what you believe. So anyway, we had these arguments or discussions a lot. In fact, there were some people who thought that me and this other guy was just like arguing all the time. And then we ended up dating for a brief time, and she was so surprised. She's like, but you guys hate each other. You're always arguing. And we're like, we like arguing. When I was jotting down my outline that I have here in front of me, I was trying to remember like which came first. I'm not sure exactly. But anyway, my family was going to a church for a while. I don't remember if we were there for an entire year or for a little less. And somewhere in there, I was doing like a college group at another church. And then I was doing like a small group with the church we were attending. And then at some point in there, I also was meeting with friends for a Bible study. Anyway, during this time, I had independence because I had my driver's license, and I was able to visit with friends and do Bible study and really delve into scripture and discussing it a lot, and with college group, with other friends as well. And so this was a time when I was really delving into scripture and reading the Bible a lot. Back to this church. So this church was way into like the hip music, you know, like the latest worship music. The band and the music and the lights and, you know, the whole worship team, and they were very like seeker friendly, which was kind of funny to come like from this Baptist church and being hurt by being seeker friendly, but it was kind of nice. It was different. We sat around tables and ate cake and worshiped God, and part of me is like, is this even right? Like, this is so informal, but then it's kind of fun to have coffee and cake, and yeah. So anyway, after that, during that time, my parents started reading all these books like The Organic Church and Pagan Christianity, things like that. Now, I didn't read these books. I guess I was busy with my college classes, but my parents decided that they were going to go to house church route. And so they were told that you have to go first through a church detox. Otherwise, you're going to have problems with house church. And so they actually took a break from church. And this is when I rebelled. Yes, I actually rebelled against my parents' church detox and was like, what? Like, I've been going to church my whole life. Like, you've been bringing me to church my whole life, and I'm not giving up church. I'm not giving up God, you know? And so I actually visited a couple of churches on my own. That was really weird, but it kind of helped prepare me for the next step, was when I went away to college and going to church without my family. And I think at this point, you know, is like I made faith my own, and I realized this was the turning point where I was making my own decisions about church and where I wanted to go, instead of falling under my parents' spiritual umbrella or my father's spiritual authority. I was kind of stepping out from that, and I was breaking free from that. I'm really excited about the next point when I go away to college and I start going to another church. So I hope you stay tuned for that. Definitely post any questions you have down below. I'd love to expand more on this if you have more questions and talk about it more. I've had a lot of different church experiences, and I think it's how God has taught me to understand his full body, the big capital C church, as I was saying, because I've seen the different components of the different denominations of Christianity. Not all of them, but I've seen a lot of them, and so I can understand where people are coming from. And I love like my diverse church history. So I hope you stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Bye.